First of all, I want to thank Katie and her entire team for the work that they do here. I know that they're making a big difference to not only advocate for, but raise awareness for people in Canada with mental illness and addiction. So can we give it up one more time for Katie and her team? And I also want to thank you for the opportunity to be in this platform and share my story, and hopefully, like you said, reach one person today. A negative view of self, a sense of hopelessness for the future, feeling isolated or alone, drastic changes in mood and behavior, self-harm, substance abuse, and frequently speaking about death. These are only a few of the suicide warning signs and symptoms. And this was my reality from 2011 to 2013. It was at 16 years old when I remember making poor decision after poor decision. I'm hanging out with the wrong guys. I'm skipping all my classes. And I give up the one thing in my life that gives me real meaning. I quit competing for Canada in trampoline across the country. I start to feel sorry for myself. I develop this disempowering self-talk, saying all the cliche things to myself. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not attractive enough. And then escalates to the point where I'm saying to myself, I don't even want to be here. I'm drowning in this pool of my own self-loathing. And finally, I get this great idea. Why don't I add drugs to the mix? With everything that was going on. And then adding drugs in the mix. What do you think that got me? The perfect recipe for depression and anxiety. It was later in 2011 that I was diagnosed with clinical depression. And I spent the next 2 years of my life shrouded by this dark, heavy, relentless cloud of negativity. And I know that I'm far from alone. I know there's people in this room that have felt the way that I felt. And when you feel that way, what's the worst thing that you can do? You try to get through it alone. I almost didn't survive that one. But fortunately, my parents stepped in and they helped me turn my life around. They helped me get the therapy that I needed, the medication that I needed. But that didn't last too long. My real saving grace, and my mom's here, and she can tell you the story, but was when they forced me, and I mean they forced me, every single Saturday morning for 2 years, from when I was 18 years old to when I was 20 years old, to participate in their business meetings. They brought me to the meeting every Saturday morning with their partners, and for the first 6 months, it was the most uncomfortable experience of my life. Every time I walked in that room, my palms and my back were sweaty, my face was hot, I was nervous, my throat was dry, my words would be heavy. But the 6 months that I spent in that room with those people filled me up. They poured into me. They filled me with dreams and positivity and visions for my future. They gave me the outlet that I needed to be able to express the way that I was feeling. They had me reading the right books. How many of you have ever heard of John Maxwell, Les Brown, Jim Rohn? It was at 18 years old when these people helped me learn what Jim Rohn said, and I know that it's something that Healthy Minds Canada and the people in this room can relate to and can align with. He said, direction over destination. Jim Rohn said, you can't change the destination of your life overnight, but you can change the direction. I didn't even know it, but I was changing the direction of my life. I'm now 19, and I don't need my medication anymore. I'm waking up excited. I'm building my first business. And it took 3 years, and it was a long process, but I, along with a ton of support, because I couldn't have done it alone, had overcome my depression. And although the direction of my life has changed many times since I was 19, my current direction is why I'm here. I always thought that my story was unique. But when I started to share it, teachers and parents and students would say things to me like, you need to share that story. Did you know that 1 in 5 youth are going to experience their own version of what you went through? I had no idea. But when I looked into it, I found out that suicide is the #1 health-related cause of death in youth, accounting for 1 in 4 deaths between the ages of 15 and 24. And it blew me away. That, coupled with in December of 2016, I was visiting Guelph University. My girlfriend Victoria is also in the audience. She was a residence assistant at the time. And I was visiting Guelph right around their exam crunch season in December. And I got there, and Victoria said to me, I didn't want to text you, but one of the students in our residence committed suicide last week. And I later found out that 3 more students killed themselves that year. And 3 more students weren't going to be going back home to their family. In December of last year, I made it a personal mission of mine to be able to do something about it, to reach out to as many people as possible, especially students, so that they know that they never need to go through what they're going through alone ever again. That it's okay to not be okay. That there's organizations out there that are fighting for them. That it's in community that we find strength. That there's people like the people in this room that are there to help. That's why I'm here. And that's why I know that Healthy Minds Canada and all the work that Katie and her team doing are going to continue to support, especially like when I needed it, to support Canadians in their journey to a mental health, to a healthier mind. I know that as much as there's so much work that needs to be done, Canada is in good hands under their leadership. Thank you for the opportunity, Katie, and I hope to be able to meet. I hope to be able to meet as many of you as possible after the event.